Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Olga George. I'm the City of Pittsburgh and Mayor Ed Gainey's press secretary. Welcome to the beautiful Crafton Heights. Thank you for being here today. Now, it's an honor to stand with you as we announce a major milestone in our commitment to protect and expand home ownership in Pittsburgh. In recent years, we've seen how the forces of speculation and unchecked profit can threaten the very fabric of our neighborhoods. Properties that should be homes for Pittsburgh families are being bought up for profit-driven purposes, flipped, turned into short-term rentals, or rented at prices far beyond the results. The results? Pittsburghers are being displaced, priced out of the very neighborhood they helped to build. Today, we are proud to introduce a new piece of legislation aimed at tackling this issue head-on. This legislation is part of a broader effort by the Gainey administration to protect renters, expand home ownership, invest in public housing, and address the rising housing costs that have been burdening our city. At the heart of this effort is a commitment to keep Pittsburgh home. Home ownership is a crucial tool in the fight against displacement, and it is a key to ensuring our neighbors are able to stay in their communities and build a future here. Our administration, the Gainey administration, is committed to protecting Pittsburgh families and ensuring that all of us, whether renters or homeowners, can thrive in the city that we all love. With this new legislation, we are taking a crucial step toward stopping speculation, preserving long-term affordability, and ensuring that every Pittsburgher has the chance to call this city home. And now I would like to introduce the leader who is championing this important work and has been a tireless advocate for Pittsburgh's future, the Honorable Mayor Ed Gainey.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here. This is a continuation of what we want to be able to see in our city. And today I'm standing in front of a home of a city who's benefiting from our own PGH that you've heard me talk about in the past. This represents more than just a purchase. It represents commitment to our city, to ensuring that working families in our city can buy, stand, and build a future in the neighborhood they love. Y'all know I think that's very important for people to be able to buy homes in neighborhoods that they grew up in. A commitment to fighting back against speculation and displacement. A commitment to making sure that our communities are shaped by the people who live there, not by outsiders who invest looking to only make a profit. The challenge, let's talk about it. Homeownership in the city is becoming harder to achieve. Rising housing costs, limited access to financing, and competition from investors are making it more difficult for working families to buy and stay in their homes. We must reverse this trend. Speculative investors are changing our neighborhood, and not for the better. Too often homes are purchased not by families looking to build a future, making sure that their kids have a nice home to grow into, but by corporations and out-of-town buyers looking to flip properties or convert them into high-cost rentals. It's hurting our community. This speculation is driving up costs and displacing residents. When corporate landlords dominate the market, it reduces home ownership, opportunities, and drives up price, forcing longtime residents out of their neighborhoods that they helped to build. We know this is evident. We've been saying this, and I want to highlight it again. When my administration took over, we inherited the loss of 3,000 low-income families. Let me say that again. We inherited the loss of 3,000 low-income families, 700 black homeowners. My administration has been focused on reversing this trend to make a city where everybody feels welcome and included. The black homeownership rate in our city is just 31.4%. Let me say that again. The black home ownership in this city is just 31.4% compared to 73% for white households. The gap is growing. It's not getting smaller, it's growing. And it's our ability to be able to make sure that we make it to where everybody can purchase a home, where everybody can experience generational wealth through home ownership. Who's driving the car? And who's driving this crisis? We have over 4,000 short-term rentals in our cities. 4,000 short-term rentals. Investors out-competing local buyers. Between 2010 and 2021, the percentage of homes sold to corporate investors in Pittsburgh jumped from 15.5% to nearly 25%. Let me say that again. Investors outcompete local buyers. Between 2010 and 2021, the percentage of homes sold to corporate investors in our city jumped from 15.5 to nearly 25%. Median home prices and rents are rising faster than wages. Let me say that again. Median home prices and rents are rising faster than wages. In the last 5 years, median rents have surged over 55%, from $847 in 2019 to right now today, $1,315. That's a major jump. That's a crisis. This is why we're fighting back. My administration is taking bold action to make sure home ownership remains affordable in this city. I just talked to a gentleman that has been in this community forever and a day, and he got a story to tell. Through OwnPGH, the Gainey administration, my administration, is breaking down historical barriers to home ownership. The program provides critical down payment assistance for first-time buyers and has already helped 150 homeowners. 88% are women households ran by women. I want y'all to say that. I want to say that again. 88% are owned by women households, head of houses, from communities that have historically been excluded from home ownership. This is a major step forward in our racial and gender home ownership gap, which is critical, taking into account that black Pittsburghers are more than twice as likely to be denied for mortgages as white applicants, and women, especially women of color, face significantly higher financials and systematic barriers to buying a home. OwnPGH is directly addressing these inequities by making sure that we are keeping Pittsburgh safe, we are keeping it affordable, and that they are able to raise families. Beyond these wins, we are here today to display our ongoing actions. We are introducing new legislation to stop displacement and keep homeowners within reach. We're launching a real estate tax relief program known as LOOP. Now, LOOP is a legislation I worked with when I was at the state level. It was one that I introduced, and then after that, County Exec Sarah Anna Morado and State Senator Jay Costa got it over the finish line last year. The reason why this is important, when property tax spikes, families are often forced to sell, especially for investors looking to flip or rent high prices. No one should be forced to sell their home just because the property tax go up. This program stops the cycle by capping tax increases, allowing homeowners to stay in their communities instead of selling under pressure, keeping longtime residents in place, reducing the rapid turnover that fuels speculation, ensuring that homes are more likely to stay in the hands of people that live in the community, people that's from this city, and not outside investors just flipping it to make a profit and not thinking about the people that live in that neighborhood. Part of a larger strategy to keep Pittsburgh home. This is one step in a comprehensive plan to protect home ownership and stop displacement in our greater city area. We also know that keeping public tools for the people strengthens our land bank. And investing in public housing to ensure long-term affordability is something we need to do. Stopping housing from becoming hotels, ensuring short-term rental regulations to curb speculation, preventing displacements, expanding affordable housing, leveraging the housing bond, using public tools to keep residents in their neighborhoods, making home ownership possible. We want to make home ownership possible, creating more pathways for first-time buyers to own and build stability, and protecting renters, stopping unfair evictions and rent hikes that push families out. Fighting predatory investors, limiting speculation to keep homes in the hands of people in their neighborhood and in our Pittsburghers in this city. Our commitment, Pittsburgh is for the people, not for profit seekers. You've heard me say that many a day. Our future depends on keeping homeowners within reach for the people who live and work here. Our neighborhood should not be a marketplace for investors looking to make just a profit, but it should be for our families. It should be for the people that live here. That's what today is about. And no one can speak to this better than those directly impacted by it. I want to introduce Jason Bailey's story, a Pittsburgher who has experienced firsthand what these investments mean to our communities. Thank you.
I am not Jason Bailey, but I will be his voice today because Jason is a bit camera shy. He did write a letter for the media to understand his story, and I'll make sure that everyone has that before we leave. But to tell you the story about Jason, owning a home in Pittsburgh has become increasingly difficult with rising costs and barriers to securing financing. For many first-time buyers, saving for a downtown payment is a significant hurdle. Now, Jason lived in Bloomfield for nearly a decade, watching rents rise and investors flip properties. When his building was sold in 2020, he feared eviction as neighbors were pushed out and rents skyrocketed. Searching for stability, Jason found OwnPGH, which helped him buy a home with a mortgage lower than his rent. His life programs like OwnPGH provide the critical support needed to help residents transition from renting to owning. Thanks to the program, he no longer fears eviction or rising costs. He now has permanent housing security. Expanding access to home ownership means creating stability, building generational wealth, and strengthening neighborhoods. Home ownership support programs ensure that Pittsburgh remains a city where working families can buy homes and thrive. Too many Pittsburghers are forced out by speculation, struggling to find stable housing. OwnPGH is a lifeline, turning housing insecurity into home ownership for working families. Mayor Ed Gainey's commitment to home ownership ensures that more Pittsburghers can buy, stay, and thrive. And Jason is very proud to be in this location. He told us we are welcome to hold a press conference here. The back is much better than the front because he's still working on improving that, but it is the pride of being able to say, this is my home. Now, it takes leadership and investment in home ownership are critical to making our vision of a stronger and more equitable Pittsburgh a reality. As Council President and Vice Chair of the Urban Redevelopment Authority, better known as URA, Council President R. Daniel Lavelle has been a tireless champion for policies that keep Pittsburghers in their homes and address the challenges that too many families are facing. His work ensures that our policies are not just ideas, they are solutions that work for the people of Pittsburgh. I welcome to the podium Council President Daniel Lavelle.
Good morning, everyone. It is certainly a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to stand with Mayor Ed Gainey as we talk about the incoming and new legislation. Homeownership is the foundation of generational wealth, but for too many Pittsburghers, it's slipping out of reach. Investors are driving up prices, making it harder for first-time buyers, while rising property taxes are forcing long-time homeowners to sell. Families who have spent decades building their communities deserve to stay and benefit from the value that they've created. This issue is especially critical for Black families, whose wealth is often tied to home equity. Instead of passing that wealth down, too many are being pressured to sell just to keep up with rising costs. And that is why the Loop legislation is so important. It provides real estate tax relief, ensuring that rising home values benefit homeowners rather than burden them. In addition, under Mayor Gainey's leadership, we're investing in and expanding support beyond just buying a home. Programs for down payment assistance that was just talked about and home repairs will help families not only purchase homes, but stay in them for generations to come. This is all about stabilizing neighborhoods, protecting wealth, and keeping homeownership within reach for all of Pittsburghers. The Loop legislation is a key step in ensuring our communities remain strong and in the hands of the people who built them. And I want to thank the mayor for his leadership in bringing this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Now I'd like to bring forth a individual who is well known to this program in ensuring the success of these initiatives is Deputy Mayor Jake Pollock, who will outline the financial strategies behind our programs and how we are ensuring their long-term affordability.
Thanks, Olga. Keeping homeownership within reach isn't just about policy, it's about ensuring the financial resources are there to support it. The city is prioritizing direct assistance to help Pittsburghers buy and stay in their homes. Programs like OwnPGH and the Housing Assistance Program are critical resources that require sustained investment to continue having an impact on housing outcomes across our city. With today's submission of legislation creating protections for longtime owner-occupants from property tax increases, we're taking a critical step in the fight against gentrification and displacement. When the mayor mentioned that he had been a sponsor of Loop when he was a member of the State House, he may not actually remember this, but he was he was a URA board member at the time, and I worked on the staff, and it was actually the first project we ever worked together on, was writing the first draft of that legislation. And I can say now, almost 10 years later, that that work is finally paying off today. When Governor Shapiro signed the Loop program into law, he created a pathway to our present moment, where Pittsburgh can protect longtime homeowners from being pushed out by rising property values, which in turn create higher taxes. Mayor Gainey was a sponsor of the state enabling legislation for Pittsburgh's Loop program when he was a state representative and advocated for it as mayor because he understands how important tax relief is to preserving Pittsburgh's sense of community. Citywide, property values have increased nearly 20% from January 2021 to 2025. These rapid value increases are placing serious cost pressures on existing homeowners. These increased property values can create generational wealth for those homeowners who are able to stay in their homes. But for some working families, seniors on fixed incomes, or lower income residents who may have inherited a home from a family member, these rising values can, either through assessment appeals or eventual reassessment, increase their property taxes to the point they can no longer afford to keep their home, which is for most families the primary store of generational wealth. Those who struggle to make their property tax payments are the homeowners most at risk for falling victim to housing wholesalers who use predatory practices and pay below market value to gobble up huge real estate portfolios and remove housing stock from the market. Loop will protect working class homeowners from being displaced from their communities by capping the increase on their property tax payments, preventing a rising tax bill from being a source of displacement pressure. To qualify for Loop, a homeowner must have owned and lived in the same property for 10 years, or for 5 years if they received some form of housing assistance, be current or on a payment plan for all taxes with the Department of Finance, experience an assessment value increase of more than 25% from 1 year to the next, or 50% over a 5-year period, and be at or below 120% of the area median income. Homeowners that meet those criteria can apply for Loop protection that will prevent their property tax bill from going up even as their assessed value does. And that protection will last as long as they remain in the property and within the program criteria. So if their income increases to the point they no longer qualify or they sell the home and move somewhere else, the protection would stop, but otherwise they'll continue to be locked into that lower payment. Mayor Gainey and this administration are not just responding to a crisis, we're building a foundation for sustainable home ownership. With these financial tools, we are creating real stability for working families, preventing displacement, and ensuring that Pittsburgh's neighborhoods remain affordable, not just for today, but for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Jake Pollock. Now, The URA plays a crucial role in advancing housing initiatives in Pittsburgh. I would like to bring forth Alicia Majors, URA's Assistant Director of Housing Support, who will discuss the URA's authorities' programs and how they're helping more Pittsburgh residents achieve more home ownership and access essential home repair services. Alicia?
Thank you, Olga. Real tongue-tied.
Real tongue-tied. Real tongue-tied.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Alicia Majors. I'm the Assistant Director of Housing Support at the Urban Redevelopment Authority. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today to talk about the importance of continued home ownership opportunities and affordable housing support for residents. Today, I want to start off by thanking and recognizing Mayor Gainey, City Council members, our URA Board of Directors, the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board, URA staff, and our local bank partners for all their support and dedication to keeping Pittsburgh home for those who've lived here for generations. I've been working on housing initiatives for at least 20 years, give or take, and have come to know the many barriers community members face in obtaining homeownership or to stay in place. Through the city's investment in the Housing Opportunity Fund, we've been able to administer the Down Payment Closing Cost Assistance Program, helping individuals and households afford to buy their first home through up to $7,500 in assistance. Buyers can layer this financing with other first-time home buyer programs to drive down the cost of home ownership. Building off the success of that program, in 2023, we leveraged American Rescue Plan Act funds from the city to launch the OwnPGH homeownership program, which provided up to $90,000 in subsidy to bring down the sales price of the purchase of a home. This once-in-a-lifetime infusion of funding to further support first-time home buyers and the impact speaks for itself. More than 90% of homeowners supported through OwnPGH were minority or women, showing that we invest in people who have traditionally faced barriers to home ownership. We can tackle inequities head on and create meaningful paths to change that will last for generations. In our current times, many residents don't think home ownership is possible, but our programs show that we can invest in affordable opportunities. It is possible, and we're creating healthier, more stable neighborhoods in the process. The city's Housing Opportunity Fund also makes our Homeowner Assistance Program possible. By providing homeowners with grants to make critical repairs to their homes and stay there long term. It also helps to maintain Pittsburgh's aging housing stock. I can tell you that many of the homeowners supported through this program are seniors, and some of our most economically vulnerable residents. This program provides them with a sense of comfort knowing that they can remain in their homes. We are in the midst of an application period for this program, which closes next Friday. For this round, we've partnered with Action Housing to prioritize Pittsburgh homeowners most in need. Much of the work we do would not be possible without incredible partners. I want to thank our partners and leadership again, and I encourage continued collaboration so we can ensure affordable housing support for all. On behalf of my URA team, our firm will continue to lead with care and compassion as we work to advance inclusive growth across the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Majors. Now, as a key nonprofit partner, Action Housing plays a vital role in administrating home repair programs that help homeowners remain in their homes while ensuring their properties stay safe, livable, and affordable. I'd like to bring forth Action Housing CEO, Lena Andrews.
Thanks so much. I am thrilled to be here today as a part of recognizing the meaningful work that our local government is doing to protect and promote affordable homeownership in the city of Pittsburgh. Lost my remarks. I am the CEO of Action Housing, a nonprofit whose mission is to ensure that every Pittsburgher has a safe, stable, and affordable place to live. Action Housing is dedicated to promoting affordable and accessible housing for all, and homeownership is a crucial part of affordability because of all of the reasons that you've heard from the previous speakers. It's the #1 way Americans can build wealth and pass it down through generations. It also ensures that residents can stay in their neighborhoods when markets get stronger and rents get more expensive, which we are all seeing happen here in Pittsburgh. We are so proud to collaborate with the City of Pittsburgh and the URA on essential housing programs that ensure stability for homeowners. We administer the URA's Homeowner Assistance Program, and we previously administered the Whole Home Repair Program. Both programs support homeowners and stabilize neighborhoods. We're currently accepting applications, as Alicia mentioned, for the URA's Homeowner Assistance Program, so we are seeing the need for this program firsthand. We opened applications very romantically on Valentine's Day and have received over 650 applications since that time. 40% of those applications are from seniors and 20% are from households with children. These programs prevent displacement and homelessness specifically by helping vulnerable households at risk of losing homes due to code violations and unsafe conditions that can be remedied through programs just like this. So we're still in the application phase for the Homeowner Assistance Program, but we administered a similar program called Whole Home Repair. So we see the positive impact these programs have every day. And I want to leave you with just one story of the impact of the program on a local family. So a determined single mother in the Hill District transformed her family's living situation through Whole Home Repair. Despite earning minimum wage, she worked tirelessly to provide a safe home for her 3 children, aged 18, 8, and 2. After facing challenges in a home with code violations, she saw the opportunity of Whole Home Repair and replied. This program helps her with a new roof, upgraded electrical systems, and complete plumbing replacements in both bathrooms, which were previously unusable. A critical support was also added to secure the steps to this 3rd floor, addressing safety concerns. These improvements eliminated code violations, turned the property into a safe home for her and her children, and may have even saved lives. So these are the types of stories that are funded by programs like this. An investment in home repairs is an investment in our residents staying safely in their homes and an investment in our communities. Thanks so much to the city and the mayor and the URA for enabling us to make these critical investments in the city of Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Ms. Lena. Now I would like to bring forth once again the Honorable Mayor Ed Gainey, who will be speaking about the next steps.
First, I'd like to thank all the speakers who spoke today. I'd like to thank all of our cooperation across the board to make this happen. You know, since 2023, we have distributed a total of $6 million to OwnPGH. We've already helped 150 families by buying homes. 88% of them are women-head households or from communities that have historically been left behind. We also are making sure our home repair programs are ready to be used so that they can help repair the homes as they purchase theirs. So I'm gonna turn it back over to Olga, but I just want to say thank you, because the more we create neighborhoods where people believe that where they grew up at, they have the ability to live in. This is how you make a house a home. And our ability to make houses into homes for families, and not just people that want to flip the property to make a profit, the more we stabilize our neighborhoods and we keep costs down. So it is all about how we stabilize our housing market and how we build neighborhoods where people believe they belong. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I know there are some media here. If we have some questions regarding the programs, go Go ahead. Yes, Julia.
Thank you. I know you mentioned the cap regarding the loop, but where exactly is that increase capped at? What's the kind of
JP?
equation? Thank you.
So the loop proposal, which is being sent to council today, we anticipate introduction next week. To qualify, they would have had to experience either a 25% increase in their property tax bill in a single tax year, or a 50% increase over a 5-year period. The program would then freeze their the tax increase that they would pay on their bill based on experiencing those increases. The annual amount available for those tax protections would be set by council by resolution every year. So it would be part of the budget process where we determine how much funding we can make available to make those to support the program. If there is enough money appropriated in a given year, then everyone will see the full amount of their relief. If less than the total program applications is appropriated, then it would be pro rata. So they would homeowners would experience a small increase in their taxes, but not the entire increase in their tax bill.
Follow-up question to that, if I may. Since this, I do not believe, was appropriated in this year's budget, how did we handle that for fiscal year 2025? Or was it appropriated in the budget?
No. So we would create the program with this legislation, which would open an initial application window. We already know the tax bills that residents have. We've already done the tax bills for this year, so we know of any instances where there's been an increase and they're minimal and essentially not something that we're worried about from a financial projection point of view. Where we would begin to experience, where we would anticipate needing resources to address this would be beginning in tax year 2026. That's exactly why we want to advance the legislation now, so that folks can apply this year and be in the program ahead of 2026 tax bills.
This is one avenue to obviously try to keep people in their homes and keep stuff affordable, but is there other avenues the city can pursue for these outside investors to stop them from gobbling up homes?
Sure. Yeah, this is only one piece of the puzzle. I mean, this is, I think, the third or fourth of these events we've had and we've talked about programs aimed at creating new supply of affordable housing through the land bank and OwnPGH. We're talking today about legislation that addresses the tax dimension of that challenge. But there are other pieces of legislation that we're continuing to work on with council to address also other ways in which speculative ownership enters the market. We also have federal support on this issue. Congresswoman Lee has introduced legislation that we talked about last week to support land banks and is working on other legislation as well regarding corporate landowners and LLCs and their role in the rental market that we'll be talking about later this year.
Okay, I see there's a question from a resident of Crafton Heights. Sir, go ahead.
About 3 houses over from this house. And I'm familiar with these 2 properties. In 2017, these 2 properties were sold to a LLC for $2.2 million. It was a multi-parcel sale. This property here, number 1 Ridnire, was the LLC had a contractor come in and do minimum work on the property. The value of it was $65,000. They had an African-American lady. They sold it to her for $130,000. She lasted a year and a half till they foreclosed on it. Another LLC bought the property. Now it's an LLC that's out in Squirrel Hill. This property sold for $85,000. They just bought this piece of property for $45,000. It's illegal. You can't have a bedroom in a rental that doesn't have a means of egress out of the place. This is, I grew up in Sheridan. I don't even recognize it. And as far as they happen so fast, you turn around, it's in the paper, they don't get permits, they're in the house revolved and they're gone, and they leave, it's terrible. And Mayor Gainey is right on, spot on in this whole bunch of shit.
Okay. You, okay. Well, thank you. You have a question, Julie?
If I may, Deputy Mayor Paul, you mentioned since the tax bills had already gone out, sort of having some indication of where we are this year. Are you able to specify like any details of how many people would qualify this year?
I don't believe there were any instances where someone had the single year tax increase of over 25% that would trigger loop. But if there are, we're talking, in the single digits, right? I don't believe that we anticipate any of those folks were income qualified. The ways in which the program would come into application, as I said, are through either a reassessment, an eventual reassessment, which would mean that neighborhood-wide or market-wide dynamics are increasing the value of a property that has nothing to do with the actual investments that the homeowner has made into it, or if the same thing were to happen through spot appeals or appeals made by one of the taxing bodies, right? So those are the scenarios where we're most likely to see a large number of properties that would be eligible for the program. And since that didn't happen between 24 and 25 or 25 and 26, this is getting the legislation in place now will help some folks in edge cases, but really it's about preparing for the future as those types of things become more likely.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, for the importance of keeping Pittsburgh home. Thank you. Have a good day.